So I'm going to break down my perception of race and just how I've thought about race and the implications of race on racism, how race and racism are interrelated and connected to society. I like to look at race as something that is created, that is manufactured from society, and it's just society's perception on a group of people that share similar characteristics constricted to a certain title because the color of their skin or where their ancestors are perceived to have come from, or just kind of like where they were born. In terms of slavery, black people were taken from Africa and brought here, so they became their own race as perceived by the American context. And then you get into these whole colors where make it like seem as if there's a difference in terms of colorism, as you create a society where the spectrum towards the light connotations of beauty and virtue and other various things are assigned to white, whereas black is, usually negative, darkness. Already creating this white to black spectrum, you're in a way saying that anybody considered black is already considered to be a part of the negative, whereas like white is positive. So you're already creating this hierarchy and this hegemonic power dynamic where whiteness is at the top and blackness is at the bottom. Race as in assigning one person's worth in society, in that society's context, the elect versus the non-elect, just easily differentiate who is superior and who's inferior. We've all internalized that. There was a study that was done where children were given 5 dolls, and the dolls ranged from light to dark, and just kind of like all the pigments in between them. The vast majority of children said that the lighter dolls were considered more beautiful or prettier, and then the darker dolls were considered ugly and less attractive. You do find that socialization of the individual's mind in which that spectrum exists even within children. And by socializing, I mean educating, formatting people's minds in the direction of society's own ideals. Why would society do this? Well, back in the context of slavery, you needed to make that differentiation to show who was superior and inferior. Slaves need to believe that they were inferior so that they wouldn't rebel and just feel like they were meant to be in servitude of their white masters. And once people were socialized into that and they were born into that and they didn't know what came before them, or maybe they had an understanding of what came before them, or they were fed lies and other various things that the culture that they came from was uncivilized and worse off than where they were right then and there. Racism was created as a way to also influence the white people that were in the middle of the spectrum. They weren't slave masters, but they were directly benefiting from that structure where they had all this free labor. Racism really allowed them to internalize that hatred for people and just that feeling that they were inferior so that they could keep the slave system alive. You create racism as a way to maintain the system, and people start internalizing and become subconscious in the way that they treat black people, in the sense of like that feeling of hatred or unease, or the feeling that black people are this or black people are that, or they're not as intelligent as white people or beautiful as white people. All these various things, they are derived from slavery, because you have communities that are passing on to their children, and it's like even the media is still racist, perpetuates this perception of black people as being inferior, or smoke too much weed, they don't take care of their children, they abuse their children. Misperceptions that have been created by the media that have perpetuated and sustained racism. The history is very deep, and it's important that we educate ourselves and our community so that we don't fall prey to them again.